Good morning, everyone. This is Bremster again, and I am here with a puzzle that I was sent a couple of weeks ago, and I looked at it then. This is a puzzle by Peter Venus, or PjotrV, or I'm really not sure. I'll call him Peter. Um, this is a puzzle by him that he sent me because apparently it was inspired by my puzzle Orrery, which I have solved previously on this channel in one of my solving my own Sudoku puzzles. Orrery was also solved by Scott Strassal on his channel. And I was very happy for that. But this puzzle was inspired by that one, and I did have a look at this puzzle back then. So I did solve most of this puzzle a couple of weeks ago. Peter released this on Logic Masters Germany a few days ago, I think it was, and therefore now is the time for me to do a video on this puzzle. I don't remember the exact path, but I do remember some of the tricks, as with a lot of the puzzles that I do. Again, sometimes I'm not a fast solver, so it takes me a bit longer to do things. Even then, I don't remember the exact path, so it may take me quite a while to do this. Please feel free to provide feedback. If you like what I do, like the video. If you want to see more of what I do, subscribe to my channel. But realistically, I honestly feel that my content will be more interesting if I'm not just staring at a screen in dumbfounded horror for a very long time. As always, this will have arrows and stuff on it, so I am going to have options over to the other screen so I don't get confused, because that happens. It's me. And I'm going to try and solve this puzzle. So this is an... yeah, I can see why this is potentially inspired by Orrery. It's using exactly the same constraints, although a lot less of them. So, let's get into the rules. So, this puzzle is called Setting the Scene, so let's set the scene. Normal Sudoku rules apply. In every box, in every row, and in every column, the digits 1 to 9 must be placed without repetition. These blue lines are diagonal lines, which means that 1 to 9 must be placed on these diagonals without repetition. There are arrows in the grid. The digits placed on an arrow must sum to the digit in the circle. So whatever goes into these three must be here. So if this was 1, 2, and 3, this would be a 6. And the digits in the cages, that's interesting. I'm assuming that's there for symmetry. The digits placed in the cages must sum to the total within the cage. Now, the only rule is that digits may not repeat within a cage, but all of these cages are within the same box, so that doesn't really matter. They're also within the same column, and because digits, the only thing that seems to apply to this cage is digits cannot repeat within the cage, I'm assuming that's there for symmetry. So, now we need to figure out what we're doing. So these are all 3-cell arrows. So yeah, let's try and solve this puzzle. These are all 3-cell arrows. So 3-cell arrows, the minimum they can be is 1, 2, and 3. So these must all... 1, 2, and 3 is 6. So all of these must be 6, 7, 8, or 9. Now, one thing I do very clearly remember from setting all the diagonal puzzles is the cells in the corner. Normally, by normal Sudoku rules, this cell would see this one and this one. But including the diagonal, it also sees this one. And this is true of all of the corner cells. So this is a 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. We cannot repeat any of those digits. So if this is a 7, none of these can be a 7. If this is an 8, none of these can be an 8. So they all must be different. So we are going to see 4 different numbers in the corners. Now, I'm going to jump straight to the concept of this was inspired by Orrery, so I'm going to start looking at set theory using the diagonals. And I'm going to describe set theory as I'm doing it, and I'm going to start with... Am I going to start with the set that Ori used? No, I'm not. I am not, because of these arrows. I'm going to rotate the set that Ori used by night. Stop talking about Ori. I'm going to use a diagonal set that looks like this. So, describing set theory while I'm doing it. We know that in every row, column, and box, the digits 1 to 9 will exist without repetition. We don't know where they're going to be in the finished grid, but we know that there will be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, etc. So in this column, there is going to be 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, 5, one set of the digits 1 to 9. And by a set, we mean there'll be one of each. In this column, there will be one set of the digits 1 to 9, one of each. So what we have now is two sets of the digits 1 to 9, or two of each, 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s. So rather than from now on saying 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, I'll just say two sets. Now, because of the diagonal rule, we know that this is a set of the digits from 1 to 9. So if I make that green, now we have, that is 3 sets of the digits 1 to 9, but this was already included from the row and the column, and this was already included from the column. So what we have is we have 3 sets of the digits from 1 to 9, but with those two cells double counted. And then if we add this diagonal, we now have 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9, but that was already included from the column, that was already included from the other diagonal, and that was already included from that column. So what we have is 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9, and these 5 cells have been double counted. And this is the... Stop talking about Ori. But this is a trick I recognize. Now what I want to do is I want to find 4 sets of 1 to 9 that I can use to force there to be a limitation on what we can see. And I'm going to use a different color for that. And I'm going to use the 4 corner boxes. So I'm going to highlight all of those blue. And what we've turned around and said here is green is 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. And remember that the green yellow means that those are counted twice. And blue is 4 sets of the digits 1 to 9. There'll be 4 1s, 4 2s, 4 3s, 4 4s. Any cell that is both colors, we can just safely remove. And we can do that because if you've got, 4 1s in green and 4 2s, well, let's use the 4 for example. If we've got 4 4s in green and 4 4s in blue, and you just remove a 4 from each, then you've got 3 4s in green and 3 4s in blue. They are still equal. So anything that you remove from both sets maintains the equivalence of both sets. They will still be identical. So we can remove all of those cells. Now we're going to break the equivalence, but we're going to maintain the, well, actually, before we do that, this cell was double green and blue. So if we remove a green and a blue from the corner cells, they will just become green because we've removed one green and one blue. So we've reduced it down to a single green. Now we're going to break the equivalence of exact digits and turn it into totals because we know that this cell has the same sum as these cells. So if we remove all of those cells, we know that green and blue no longer have exactly the same digits in them, but what they do have is the same total. And we can do the same here, and we can do the same here, and we can do the same here. Now that's a very interesting set. So what we know is the total of these blues is exactly the same as the total of all of these greens. I'm switching to my calculator. Okay, so these greens we know have a total of 8. These greens, I'm going to look at the minimum that the green can be because I want to see if these digits can be forced. These greens, and I know this because I've seen this before, have a minimum of 16, because if we were to put 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 into this, remember we have to double count this cell, we could put 2, 3, 4, and 5 in there, which sums to 14, and then if we which sums to 13. And if we put 1 in there twice, that would sum to, 2, 3, 4, 5 sums to 14. And if we put 1 in there twice, that sums to 16. So the minimum we can put in the middle is 16. And the minimum we can put in here would be 1, 2, and 3, which would sum to 6. Now that sums to 30, which would normally, if these were on the diagonal, be a very important number, because if these were on the diagonal, then we would know that they couldn't have a repeat on them, and that would force them to be 6, 7, 8, and 9, and force all of these to be minimums. But these aren't on the diagonal. So if this, for example, I'm just going to think by putting digits in. You can call this bifurcating if you want. I call it a visual assistance tool. Yeah. So if this was a 9, remember we're trying to get this value up to try and get this off being minimums, because these need to be equal. If this was a 9, I couldn't put a 9 in there, but why couldn't I put a 9 there? I mean, it would take 9 out of both of those, but that would just force 9 into one of those. And we know that those 4 have to be different, so I don't see a problem there. Oh. If I put 9... If I put a digit, a high digit in here, then it's not on the diagonal in this box and it's not on the diagonal in this box, which forces it onto green in box 5, which forces the value of these digits way up. So if I put the same digit into both of those, then I force that digit into one of the cells, one of the green cells, and they cancel each other out. Which all of a sudden means my equivalent set starts looking like that. And that's got to be broken, because the minimum I could put in there now would be 11. 11 plus 8 plus 6 is 25. And the only way I could do that was by putting double digits in there, and then I would exasperate the problem by having to put like 2 9s, or I'd have to put 2 9s in there, so it'd be 997 or 998 and something higher in there. But if I put 99 in there, then I've got to put a 9 on this diagonal, which causes the cancellation again, which forces it up even further. And then I have that, and that having to equal 2 digits, which is just blatantly stupid. So I'd end up with 8 plus 6 plus the minimum I could put in here would be 2, 3, and 2, which would be 5, 7. So I'd need 8, 6, and 7, which is 21, to fit into 2 cells, which just cannot be done. So all of those blue because what happens is if you put a duplicate into the blue, it's forced onto the green, which would cause one of them to be cancelled out. And then if you did it again, it would force another one to be cancelled out, and you would end up with two cells equaling all of those. That's just crazy. That just cannot happen. So all of these need to be different, which does mean that I get that original total of 8, 6, and 16, which is 30, which is 6, 7, 8, and 9. And that is another 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple separate to that 6, 7, 8, 9 quadruple. I'm going to make that green. Actually, I'll make that yellow. Actually, I don't need the one in the corner. The diagonals tell me that very clearly. So that means all of these have to be minimum. That has to be 1, 2, 3. These have to be 2, 3, 4, and 5. This has to be a 1. There is no 1 there. And this has to be an 8. Well, it's an 8 in 3, so there is a 1 in there. And this has to be 1, 2, 5, or 1, 3, 4. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is no 1 in there. And now I'm done with all of this highlighting. That's really clever. That is... I mean, you may say it's inspired by Ori, but talking about taking it a level further, that's just beautiful. Yeah, well done. So now we know that this is 6, 7, 8, and 9. I'm not going to pencil mark that, but I am going to pencil mark that they have to be 7, because that 7 is knocking it out of both of those. So, where do we go next? Oh, one must be in here, one must be in here. So one can't go in any of those cells, one can't go in any of those cells, one can't go in any of those cells, and one can't go in any of those cells. One is forced on to every single arrow. That's clever. There is a 1, 2, 3 in this box. This is a 2-cell arrow. The minimum I can put on this is 4, 5, which makes that a 9. I can't put a 4 on this 3-cell arrow, so that can't be a 7. Because the only way to make up 7 is 1, 2, and 4. Nine can't be in those, so that is 9 in there. These ones are lining up, which puts 1 into there and 1 into there. I now have the approximate positions of 1 in every box. I can't put 1 onto this arrow. Okay, so this can't go as high as 9. So I am going to have to use a 2, 3, 4. I'm not sure about this arrow yet. Hang on, there's something weird happening in this row. So I've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 in there. If I was to put... I can't put 2, 3, 4, or 5 into those two cells because I've got a 2, 3, 4, 5 quad in the box. Can't put 2, 3, 4, 5 there. Can't put 2, 3, 4, 5 there. The question is, can I put 2, 3, 4, 5 there? Can't be a 2 because I can't put 2 ones in there. Can't be a 3 because I can't use 1. If this was 4, this would have to be 1, 3, and I can't use 1. So the question is, can this be 5? So in order for it to be 5, it would have to be 1, 4. I can't use 1 or I can't use 1. Or it would be 2, 3. But the only way to make up 8 is with 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. So I must have a 2 or a 3 in this box. So I can't use 2, 3. So this can't be a 5. So this must be 2, 3, 4 or 5 because I cannot use the 2, 3, 4, 5 here, here or here. And these must be 6, 7 and 8 without that one being a 7 because 7 is forced into there. This is 6 or 8. So, remember how I said just staring at the screen is boring? I should stop just doing that, shouldn't I? Okay, so these are 6, 7 and 8 as well. That's a quadruple, but I don't just want to pencil mark a quintuple because of it. Wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Can that ever be 6? Didn't bring in a drink. Okay, let's look at the options. If this is a 6, this would be 2, 4. 2, 4 would mean this is not possible because this needs to be 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4, and neither of those would be possible if that's 2, 4. This can't be 3, 3 because 2 3s in the box is blatantly impossible. If this was 4, 2, I have the same problem as 2, 4. And if this is a 5, this would have to be a 1, and I can't use the 1 because I need the 1 with the 2, 5 or the 1 with the 3, 4. So this can never be 6. This is an 8. Which takes 8 out of there, giving me a 6, 7 pair. Well, now I'll pencil mark that because that's an 8, 9. Now this has to be, what, 2 with 6, 3 with 5, 4 with 4. Yeah, that's not going to happen. 3 with 5 with 3. So that's 3, 5, and 6. I'm so close to having a quintuple, but the 6 possibility. One, two, three, four, 5. So this is 6, 7, 8, and 9 without being an 8. I'm missing something obvious here. That can still be 9. I am missing something obvious here. So hang on. I can take this further, can't I? If this was 5, 3, this is 125 or 134. I can't use 5, 3 here. In either form, this has to be 2 and 6. So that means 2's not in there, 4's not in there. This is 135. There's no 6 up here. That's 7, 9. 1, 2, that must be a 4. Takes 4 out of both of those. No, wait. 135 is 9. What am I talking about? 2 and 6. 2 comes out of here. It's 1, 2, 5 that makes 8, not 1, 2, 4. I am bad at math. So this is 7, 9, and this is a 5. That takes 5 out of both of those. It takes 6 out of both of those. So this is a 7, 8 pair. This becomes a 6. These are not 6 anymore. This is a 7, 8, 9 triple. That still leaves me with exactly the same options here. Has that done anything extra? It must have. 7, 9 makes that an 8, makes that a 9. So 5 in this box must be at the top up here, because this is 2, 3, 4, 5, and 5 now can't be down here. So 5 is up here. So this is now 4. This is now 5. That takes 4 out of the top up here, which puts 4 into the bottom down here, which means this is not 4. I'm not sure how that's helping me. This 2 is seeing that, making that a 3, making that a 4. These are not 3 anymore. That's not a 4 anymore. So 4 must be in one of those two. Four must be in one of those. Got the 6, 7. Four, 5. Okay, so what am I missing that is obvious here? It's got to be these arrows. So they've all got 1s on them. But that doesn't mean they can go as high as a 6. I can't put a 7 on an arrow. But I can put a 7 on the end of an arrow. Okay, any cat owner will tell you that feline interruptus is a thing, and that's what I just had. So, where were we? So, I believe that I'd just been looking at sevens, and so we can't put sevens on arrows, I think it was what I was just looking at. So, in row 1, we can't put 7 here. We can't put 7 on an arrow, and we've discounted 7 from here somehow. Oh, because this can't be 1, 2, 4. So this can't be 1, 2, 4, so this can't be 7. This can't be 7. We can't put 7 on an arrow because it'd have to go with 2 1s. So this must be a 7. And the only way to make up 7 is with 1, 2, 4. So that must be 1, 2, 4. Okay. So this is not 7. Okay. So we can't put a 2 there, so we must have a 2 in there, which means there must be a 2 in there, which means there's no 2 on this arrow, which means this is not 6. It's not 7 because it's with, in fact, none of these. This is not 7 either. So this is 8 or 9 without a 2. Back to my calculator. If it's 8, it's 1, 3, 4, which it could be, I think. Because, yeah, the 1, 3, 4 there, that could work. And if it's 9 without 2, it's 1, 3, 5. So the 5 would be there. 3 could be anywhere. Yep, that works. But we've got 2 in one of those two. 7, 7, 7 has to go in here. Can't go on the arrow, so 7 is in one of those 3. Seven is in one of those 2. Because of those 7s and that 4. So 7s are lining up. 7, 7. So this can't be a 7. 7 must be down here. Because I've disproven this from being a 7 by that 7. So 7 is down here. Seven can't be here or here because it can't be in any of the corners and it can't be on the arrows. So 7 is down here somewhere. It can't be in the middle because of that 7. I could still put 6 on these arrows, I think. Something weird going on with 7s. Seven can't be there or there. 7 has to be in one of those 4. It can't be on the arrow. 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Seven. Yeah, I'm not sure that's it. One of these has to be 6. Three Hang on, 3. 3 can't be here, and 3 is not on this arrow. 3 is up here now, and it has to be on here, because I can't put 3 here, can't put 3 on a 7 arrow, and 3 is not limited out of there. That takes 3 out of both of those. That puts 3 onto this diagonal arrow. 3 is now pinched out of there. There is a 3 on that arrow. And I think there's a 3 on this arrow as well, because 3 can't be there and 3 can't be there. So there's a 3 on that arrow as well. So this is an 8 or a 9 with the 3. So is this 1, 3, 4 or 1, 3, 5? And it must have 1 or 3. This is either 1, 2, 3, 1, 3, 4, or 1, 3, 5. Two, 1, 2, 3, 4. I am definitely missing something here. There's something weird going on with these arrows. Hang on. This has a 1 and 3. This can't be 8 because that would mean this has to be 1, 3, 4. And I can't use a 4. This can't be 8. If this was 6, it would be 1, 2, 3, which I can still do, I think, putting 2 down here. And if it's 9, it's 1, 3, 5. So there's no 8 up there. So there is an 8 down here now. So this is 1, 2, 3, or 1, 3, 5. That can't be a 5. Excuse me. Hay fever in Melbourne, and my pause feature recently failed to work, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4. That can't be 4. Can't be 1. So that's a 2, 3. That can't be 1. Hang on, that's a 2, 3. Because it can't be 1. It can't be a 4. Can't be a 5. Can't be a 6. And I've got a 7, 8, 9 triple. This is a 2, 3. So I can't put 1, 2, 3 on this arrow because that would leave no fill for that. So this is a 9. And if this is a 9, we determine this, because it has 1, 3, has to be 1, 3, 5. There is no 2 on this arrow. This is a 2. And this is 1, 3, 5. That takes 2 off that diagonal, forces 2 onto that diagonal. There is no 2 there. Two is now on this arrow. So there must be a 2 on that arrow, because 2 is now no longer possible on that diagonal or on that vertical. There is a 2 on this arrow. So there's a 1 and a 2 on that arrow. 2 can't be there, so 2 must be in one of those 2 cells. So it's 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 5. No, I can't do 1, 2, 5. Or can I? 1, 2, 5 for 8 would mean I have to put 5 there, but I already have to put 5 up there. There must be a 5 in here. I cannot put 5. This has to be a 5, 7 pair. So I can't do 1, 2, 5. So this is not 8. And I've got a 9 in the corner already. This is 6. This is 8. There's no 4 here. This is the 4. This is 1, 2, 3. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. This is an 8, 9. There's a 9 looking at it. That's 8. That's 9. I can take 9 out of all the blue squares. Now, is this 8 forced? I'm not sure. This can't be 5. 8 is either 1, 2, 5 or 1, 3, 4. I can't put a 2 onto this arrow for some reason. Why? Because 2 is forced there. This has to be 1, 3, 4. So I can take 5 out of there. This is now 1, 3, 4. That forces a 3 up here. This is not an 8. Peter, this is good. I feel like I'm not good enough for this puzzle, but this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 quadruple. So I need 5, 7, and 9 along the bottom. There's a 7 and 9 in the column. That's a 5. Oh, my hay fever. I'm so sorry, everyone. Springtime in Melbourne. So we've still got 7 to go in. Hang on. No, we don't. There's an 8 looking at that. That's a 7. That's an 8. That's a 7. That is not a 7. 4 on the diagonal. That's a 2. That's a 5. That's a 3. That's a 4. On this diagonal now, we've got 1, 2. We need 3. We've got 4, 5, 6, 7. That's a 3, 9 pair. Now this is 1, 2, 4. We know that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 8. So 5 has to be there. Except I can't put 8 there. So this is 5, 6. This is 8. So that means these are fixed. They're 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And there's a 9 right there. So that's 2 and that's 9. You say you were inspired by my puzzle. Thank you. Wow. Oh, I must be missing so much stuff. That 2 is now looking over here. That's 1. That's 2. That 1 is looking back, making that 3. That 1. This is now a naked single. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's an 8. We've got 1, 3, 5 in here. So this must be a 6. These are now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7. This is a 5, 7 pair. So this becomes a 6, which I could have got by just knowing that I had the other 3 digits. There is a 5 right there. So that becomes the 7. That becomes the 5. That 5 is looking over, making that a 7 and that a 5. This is now a triple. 1, 3, and 4. There is no 1 in the middle. There is no 3 there. There is no 4 there. This is now a triple. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. There is no 2 there. There is no 8 there. That means this can't be a 2. There's a 1, 3 pair. That makes that a 2. Oh, this is falling into place. This has got to resolve. Have I completed the diagonals? No. I'm only missing those that I can see. Is there a 3 or a 9 pointing at them? Probably, but I am oblivious to it. 2, 3, 4, and 6 missing from here. So this has to be a 2 or a 3. Oh, what am I missing? This 6 is looking over, making that a 5 and that a 6. This is edge of my seat kind of stuff. That 7 is looking up, making that a 9, making that a 7. That does make that 3 and that 9. That 3 looks down, that's not a 3 anymore, so the 3 is in there. That 3 is looking over, saying there's no 3 in there, so the 3 is in there. This is all just on the edge. These pencil marks are now getting confusing, so I'm going to take them away. I think I can pay attention to... I've done all the eliminations in the corners to the most of it. So I think it's all going to come down to this box. So we know 1 is in one of those two because ones are being pinched into rows 1 and 2 by the arrows. 2, well, that's not a 2 anymore. That's a 1-4 pair, so that's a 2. So 2 is being pinched into one of those two cells. 3 is also into one of those two cells because 3 has to be in there from there in row 1 on that arrow. Row 2 is already filled and there's a 3 looking at that cell. So this becomes a 1 because this is part of a 2-3 pair. So we've now got that filled. That 1 looks down, makes that a 4, makes that a 3, makes that a 1. The 3 looks up, makes that 2 and that 3. The 2 looks down, makes that 6, which makes that 8, which makes that 2. That doesn't resolve that. Did that put any pressure on any of this? Not yet. What about 4? 4 and 4. Okay, 4 and 4. This is the 4 is the only number not missing from column 5, which does do a lot in here. 1, 4. That puts 1 in here, which makes that 3 and that 5. The 3 makes that 1 and that 3. That's 1. That's 4. That's 3. So that's all of columns 1, 2, 3, 7, 8, 9 done. I've got 5 done. I'm literally down to only 2 columns. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There is an 8, so that becomes a 6. That becomes an 8. The 6 makes that a 7 and that a 6. The 7 makes that 9 and that's 7. I've only got 2 cells to go and they're both in the same box. So assuming I have made no mistakes, and that was a really horrible pop-up to have happen at this time. That's a 5 and that's a 9 and that looks good. Holy cow, Peter. That original deduction with having to realize that the set is causing pressure by any duplicate digits that you put in here caused it to be eliminated from the other set and therefore causing the extra constraint, meaning that you have to do another duplicate digit removing it and you just end up with way too much. That's good. Then the forcing of the diagonals putting pressure on the arrows. The Sudoku from there I found really tricky. I think the thing that was hardest for me to spot was possibly the pressure on, like, once I this 4 removing the 7 from there, and this given 7 meaning that that had to be the 7 forcing the 1 2 4. This arrow, yeah, all on a knife edge and all the way through the solve. It just, yeah, that was just beautifully set. If this was inspired by my puzzle, then wow, thank you. I'm glad that I could, yeah, the fact that something yeah, all I have to say is, again, this is completely on you. Um, the initial set was similar to the set in Orrery, but I feel that you took it to the next level, and because my set was caused it to just be a simple force, whereas this you really had to then think about the ramifications of that, and then sort of do this extra, what happens if, using the diagonals to an extra level. Um, yeah, this is the next step further on. Beautiful puzzle, Peter. Thank you very much for asking me to do this puzzle and allowing me to do this puzzle. And I really hope this video does the puzzle justice. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope you attempted this puzzle, and if you got stuck, used it as a way of getting unstuck. And I hope you come back to see more puzzles now that some really amazing setters are asking me to do videos. It's humbling. Thank you very much for watching.